Oh, yes. Hi, Andrew Eborn. Yes, I can't answer now because I've got to go and, yes, I've got to go and do the show. And really exciting times because we've got the winner of the competition for the Afternoon Tease. Yeah, I'll call you back afterwards. Okay, bye. Hello. Welcome back. Nice to see you. It's Andrew Eborn here for the winner of Afternoon Tease, who's going to be joining us straight after this break. Well, welcome back. We're joined by today's winner. It is Andrew Hall. How are you, Andrew?
I'm very well, young sir, and yourself?
I am incredible. It's so good to hear you. I can't see you. There's no video.
Oh, wonders of modern technology, I think.
It is the wonders of modern technology. Well, whilst you're looking and sorting that out, we'll run through today's quiz. And today's quiz was this, is that if you multiply all of the single numbers on a phone, what would your answer be? And many people wrote in with all sorts of wonderful answers, most of which were wrong. But Andrew Hall managed to get the right answer. And if you run us through, Andrew, here we go, let's do it together. It is 1 times 2 is?
2.
2. 2 times 3 is?
6.
6 times 4 is?
24.
24 times 5?
120.
120 times 6?
720. And I think with that one, I'll let you take over, Andrew.
Okay, well, I'll carry on. Where were you? 720? 720 times 7 is 5,040. 5,040 times 8 is 40,320. You still with me? 40,320 times 9 is 362,880. So everybody who's got that figure, you're absolutely wrong. And the reason you're wrong is there's one extra digit to multiply 362,880 by. And what is that, Andrew?
0.
It is 0. And if you multiply by 0, what do you get?
Not a lot.
Not
0
a lot,
again.
as somebody very close to me used to say. Andrew, it is so good to hear from you.
And you as well. I can see you. I don't know why my camera isn't working. It must be the joys of the modern technology in the colonies down here.
We love it. Well, you have won today's prize. And today's prize, we're all going to celebrate in style. We have one of these, which I will... Doesn't that look great? Well, I'll enjoy that later. You also get a fantastic trip to Australia. And in addition to that, you become a lifetime member of the Afternoon Tease Club.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Hold your excitement.
I'm keeping my excitement down to a dull roar.
Oh, is that? And one of the reasons it's a dull roar, where are you phoning me from?
Cairns, which happens to be in far north Queensland, Australia.
Oh my goodness, I'll tell you what, the production team here are delighted to be able to save the budget. It's gonna be good. But you are today's winner. You did get the question right for the Afternoon Tease. You will be inaugurated into the fantastic Afternoon Tease Club, and you'll be an honorary member for life.
I am overwhelmed with joy, young sir.
I can tell that you're dribbling in anticipation of the rewards to follow. It's got to be good. So tell me, Andrew, it's been, we actually haven't been in touch for ages, because little did we know that actually we used to go to school together.
We did. You were down with the low lives in the lower blocks, but I was up in Sutton House at Lord Wandsworth College.
Lord Wandsworth College in Basingstoke, and many, many happy memories of our time there. So what happened to you after that time?
Oh, well, I put it like this, I'm on my 3rd marriage now, so we had 2 fails, but I worked my way through the English lasses and I found myself a perfect Australian bride.
Oh, so right, and what's her name?
Kim Hall now, and she's a teacher down here, and we are absolutely doing so well, it's unbelievable.
Oh, fantastic.
It's going great.
So one of the things we've been talking about, Andrew, is about love on lockdown, lol. and how that survived. So how the two of you got on whilst you've been locked down?
Funnily enough, not too bad.
Okay.
We've only been using the second best crockery to throw at each other. But no, Kim also, as I say, she's a teacher at one of the local schools. So she's actually been going into school and doing a lot of work from school. So it has been fairly normal. I basically look after the house these days. I'm a chief domestic engineer, I think the technical term is now.
An aquatic engineer in charge of the dishwasher. I think that's what they call it.
No, I am the dishwasher.
You are the dishwasher. It's always good. But tell me, we've been looking at how the way people treat this terrible virus in different ways around the world. So we've got New Zealand have done it in a particular way. We've got Sweden who haven't had the same sort of lockdown. How's it been in Australia?
It's not been too bad, to be honest. We haven't had the size of the epidemic that everybody else has. I think Queensland now is 14 days and counting without a new case. So, and I think the total deaths out here in Australia are below 1,000. So it's really not affected us like it has in the UK.
And that's, I mean, every death is obviously tragic, and it's not about statistics, but more about the individuals concerned. But it is remarkable how people have done it. I mean, here in the UK, we've been told that we're only allowed to go outside for certain essential things. Like you can go for one form of exercise, you can go shopping for essentials, and obviously the key workers who've been brilliant during this sort of side. Have managed to get backwards and forwards, but the shock with the economy has been quite horrendous.
Yeah, I mean, we over here seem to have followed pretty much the British template, if you like, as in what we've been allowed to do, what we haven't been allowed to do. But there's been a lot of shops, pubs, restaurants which have gone under or are just shut down completely. But it's coming. Things are coming back to life. Some of the restrictions now are being lifted. You're allowed to go 50 kilometers from your home for pleasure, for want of a better way of putting it. You're allowed to do things like that now, so people can go out. All right, you've still got to keep social distancing. You've got to still wash your hands every time and any time you get a chance. All of that sort of side of the stuff is continuing. But generally I mean, the way I look at it is I'm actually seeing more cars on the road.
Okay.
It got very quiet on the road because Kim goes into school early and I invariably take her in. We go in and what would be the normal rush hour traffic was just, where are they? There's nobody here. But now it starts to pick up again. Now that they've released a few more people to be able to move, it's getting a bit busier.
Right.
So life is it's not returning to normal, but it's getting there.
It's the new normal, isn't it? And you say Kim's a teacher. What age group does she teach?
Grade 6, which is, well, grade 5 and 6, upper primary.
Okay. And how's that been? Has that just been the key workers, children who are allowed to go?
Yes. They're now starting to let children, the very young ones, kindy and year 1, and also 12, isn't it? And year 12, and back in as of next Monday. And then they're hoping to release some of the others back in afterwards. But she's been doing everything via the internet. All the schools have been online.
Right.
Which over here, online schooling or homeschooling isn't necessarily a strange item compared to the UK. I mean, there's loads of, because when they're way out in the outback, there may not be a school anywhere near your cattle station or wherever you may be. So homeschooling is what's done normally.
Right. And I
It's
do
just,
think that that's one of the things that's going to come out of these extraordinary sort of measures is the whole rise of people staying at home, learning how to interact with each other, but also the whole remote learning side, which has
yeah,
been very, very interesting.
yeah. I mean, I think the thing people are now missing more is actual contact with people rather than the sort of the um, monetary things, you know, the actual items you can go and buy and have, possessions. They will always be there, but people are missing contact with others. And I think when this is over, that's what people will note and think, I really should have kept in touch with such and such. And then it'll get back to normal. But people, I think, will be more inclined to be in contact with others.
Yeah, and I think that's great. I think what happens is people that now realize the things that they took for granted before this terrible virus, suddenly
Yeah,
they start to value much, much more.
yeah, exactly, exactly. It's one. I think this is being a sort of bit of a silver lining to the cloud that this is brought, and also the way that the planet itself has reacted. I'm not a tree hugger in any way, shape, fashion, or form necessarily, but the way that they've been showing on the media over here, and I expect with you as well, is how the pollution levels have dropped, how the hole in the ozone has not got healed, but it's getting better. And all of these sort of things are being affected. And it's sort of like, oh, okay, that's what happens when we don't drive our cars or run the factories. The earth can recover. And I think that's been one of the good things which have come about from all of this, the way
Oh
that
no,
it's been
that's
able to.
absolutely right. I mean, certainly the skies are a lot bluer, the birds are singing a
Yeah,
lot louder, and the other thing is what we found is there have been some real heroes have come about as a result of this. So we
yeah,
had, apart from the key workers, people like the NHS and the people who are picking up the rubbish and opening the shops for the essentials, there's been some people who you've never heard of 4 weeks ago. So for example, over here, I probably made news in Australia as well, is we had Colonel Tom Moore. Did you hear about Colonel
I
Tom
thought it was
Moore?
I thought he was captain.
He was, but he's
Yes.
now been promoted. So what happened? He started out as Captain Tom Moore. He skipped Major because Major Tom would have been good for a single. But basically, he started as Captain Tom Moore. And what he wanted to do was walk 100 times up and down his garden before his 100th birthday. And he started
Mm.
off with a very modest target of £1,000. And in the end, as a result of all this media coverage, he raised over £33 million for the NHS. Absolute
That's
sensation. And not
fantastic.
only that, Andrew, but also he was a big, big fan, still is a big, big fan of Michael Ball. And so Michael, being the
Yeah.
brilliant chap that he is, got together remotely and basically
Mm.
recorded a single, the classic single, You'll Never Walk Alone. And what happened with Uncle Tom, as we've all affectionately called him, Captain
Yeah.
Tom, basically what he then released this as a single with Michael Ball, and he had a #1 on his birthday, which was last week,
Oh,
100 years old, the oldest person to have a #1 in the UK ever.
I didn't know that last bit. I don't know. I have heard of him because I've got so many friends back in the UK on Facebook, etc. Therefore, I was, hearing about this old boy doing his walk and thinking, well, we're not hearing that here. But then eventually it did start to filter through in the media.
Right. Well, what was great is that he became then an honorary colonel as a result, which is why he now, and he likes to be called a very, very humble man, but he feels it's such an honor that he's now called Colonel Tom. And I think that is superb. But have you had some local heroes where you are in Australia?
A lot of it, I mean, there's been a lot of praise and whatever for the key workers that they've been praised to the hilt. There's been a few going round. I mean, we hear stories of where people have had birthdays and they'll do a drive-by. All the locals will get together and do this drive-by where they're going through singing happy birthday from the cars and passing out prezzies and whatever. We had quite a few cases of that, but we've had nobody of Colonel Tom's league at all.
Right. But it's been quite
Um,
inspirational. I think the other thing which I've noticed is a lot of artists and people in the creative industry have got together. So we've had a lot of online plays. You've had some great online concerts as well. Lady Gaga organised a brilliant concert. I particularly enjoyed the moment when they had the using one of these online platforms. You had the four stones all in separate places, all cut back, but singing fantastically together. And Charlie Watts basically drumming his furniture, I think. But we love that. And what happens is there is nothing like a common enemy to unite people.
Oh, especially in England, no. The English are notorious for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So tell me, what was the reason you moved from England to Australia? You weren't deported, were you, Andrew?
No, my misdemeanors nearly got me stopped from coming out here.
Oh, is that? Well, perhaps you won't go into those, but it's... well, no, go on. Yeah. What stopped you getting into Australia?
I wasn't earning enough to meet the criteria for Kim to go over to the UK.
Right.
At the time, it was, I mean, it will sound like peanuts to a man of your caliber, but it was 18,400 a year. But I was self-employed and I just wasn't bringing in that money. I was bringing enough to keep my head above water, but I just wasn't bringing enough. Kim actually went for a job, applied for a job in the UK, which was more than double that figure. So she could have looked after herself, but she couldn't sponsor herself. So because of that, it was, if you can't get Muhammad to the mountain, you take the mountain to Muhammad. So I was in contact with the One Show on the BBC.
Yes.
After my story had gone via BBC Wiltshire, because I was back in Wiltshire then. And it went all around the UK, this story of a man who couldn't have his wife with him, because we actually met on Facebook, of all places, talking about Robert Plant.
Right.
The Led Zeppelin singer. And if you know him or have any contacts, Kim has a T-shirt. And there is a long-running saga with this T-shirt. She bought it at the concert, and unfortunately there's a misspelling on the back of it. But her lifelong quest, and I swear it's half the reason she married an Englishman, is to meet Robert Plant and get him to sign this damn T-shirt.
Oh, fantastic. And I heard somebody giggling in the background. Is that Kim in the background?
That is, yeah.
How are you, Kim?
Good, how are you?
Oh, I had to come a bit closer to Andrew. How are you, Kim?
Get this Zoom camera.
Oh, good, thank you. How are you?
I'm incredibly well. Andrew was just telling this, your wonderful story about how you met. And one of the things we've been looking at here in lockdown is how people find love and maintain love in these extraordinary times. We've been talking about the increase in VD, virtual dating, and it's fascinating to hear that before all this crisis, you had a long distance relationship.
11,500 miles. I don't think you can beat that.
Yeah,
amazing. So how did it originally start?
We were talking on a Robert Plant fan page.
Right.
Back in
Plant
October
sowed the seed of your love. Is that what it was?
Yes.
Okay.
Sort of.
Yeah, I have to agree. She stood right beside me. Kim made a comment, and I commented on her comment.
Right.
As you do with these things, and then the comments went backwards and forwards, and I sent Kim a private message, and then I sent her a friend's request, and we started chatting, and then one thing led to another, which led to another. I was separated then from my second wife. Kim technically was still married, but was on rocky ground, I think is the best way to put it.
Yes.
But that's just outside of Australia, is it?
No, it's just to the left and down a bit.
Okay.
The ones with a sense of humour works every time.
Yes.
I thank you.
And yeah, that's one thing Kim's learned to live with, trust me.
Right.
Then we just got together. Kim eventually came over to the UK in November no, it wasn't November, it was October, September 2011, and where we met for the first time at the wonders of Heathrow Airport.
It's just like love, actually.
Just like the film Love Actually, yeah, you know, you meet for the first time at the reception hall.
Right.
But then it just went from strength to strength. It really did. Eventually, because I couldn't travel to Australia for a long time because I'm claustrophobic.
Oh, right.
And very
Okay.
badly so.
It's a long flight, isn't it? How long is the flight?
About 27 hours all told.
How many?
About 27.
Right.
27. So
27 hours. No, but you stop off somewhere, obviously, along en route.
Oh, yeah.
Hong Kong. Hong Kong usually.
Right.
So with the help of BBC Wiltshire, they got me in touch eventually when it was realised that I would have to go out. They got me in touch with a hypnotherapist who I saw for the best part of 4 years. But, sorry, months. My mistake. It felt like 4 years. And with the aid of Kim came over to the UK. She said it was to take me back. But no, that wasn't.
That wasn't the time we went to Robert.
Well, yeah, she came over to see me on one occasion under the pretense of seeing me. That was the year before, wasn't it? And in fact, it was to go to a Robert Plant concert, literally one row from the front. So she could wear this.
Which concert was it? Whereabouts was it?
Westonbirt Arboretum.
Okay.
He did, what was it? Concert in the Woods, I think they called it. It was a great show, but totally outdoor.
Right.
I'm sorry, I'm jumping around here terribly. But yes, so we got this hypnotherapist, had a big send-off at the pub where I was, then went up to Heathrow, and then I think we had a couple of glasses of something purely medicinal.
Of course.
That and a couple of Valium tablets, and then a couple more glasses of something medicinal on the plane, and I flew like nobody's business. We went premium economy because it gave us a bit more leg room. Though when I mentioned to the air hostess what my situation was, they were very understanding because we went with Cathay Pacific.
Right.
And they were really good. They were understanding. They said, yep, no problem. We'll look after you. We'll metaphorically hold your hand. And I was okay. We were hoping last year to have come back to the UK for my eldest daughter's wedding. But unfortunately, we couldn't make it. The cost of returning was astronomical. I think we worked it out. It was going to be somewhere in the region of 50,000.
Good heavens.
Yeah, that's dollars. That's dollars.
Well, what's the current exchange rate? How many Australian dollars to the pound?
2 to 1 as near as damn it. So 25 grand, but it wasn't just the air flights. They were the main chunk of it, but then we would be coming back for, say, a fortnight. We had to find accommodation, food, transport, and all the rest of it. And it was just multiplying and multiplying up, and got to a stage where we just had to say no. That was really gut-wrenching for me. And then earlier this year, my father passed away, and that was just as the corona was coming about. And it was natural causes with him.
Where was he based? Where did he live?
Winslow in Buckinghamshire.
Right.
But it was his heart gave out eventually. He was 96. Yes, 96. So it's a
96.
pretty good innings. You know, he'd been. I must admit, he'd been running on borrowed time for an awfully long time.
Right. Those 24 years and 10 is never quite the same, is it? Or score years and 10, they say, don't they? 70 is.
That's the theory.
Yes, I think 70 is now the new middle age, isn't it?
Oh, I hope so. We've got a sporting chance there. But yeah, he passed away, but we couldn't make it back for the funeral. As it turned out, the COVID restrictions came in when they went to do the funeral, and it was only, I think, about 8 people who actually went to the service as it was. So it was really quite sad.
And it's very difficult, and I think that's another one of the tragedies at the moment. I mean, it's people lose sight of the people, if you like, behind all these statistics, because every statistic hides a real tragedy. And I think the real difficulty, and I know a number of people who sadly lost people very close to them and have been unable to attend and pay their respects in the normal way through restrictions about attending funerals. So it must have been really, really hard for you. How did you feel about it?
The funny thing is, I still haven't grieved. Now that may sound a bit peculiar, but because I've been out here now for 2.5 years, I hadn't seen Dad, and because of that, we were always family, so it's always close, but we never saw each other or spoke very often. It may only have been once a year, even. So I know in my head he's gone, and I still talk. I'm now talking to my mother quite regularly. We do FaceTime on Kim's iPad.
How old's your mother?
She's 86.
Okay, so she was a spring chicken. She was a child bride.
Yes. She went for the older man.
Right.
Who would, I think it was Groucho Marx that said, a man is as old as the woman he feels.
Absolutely.
So my trouble is Kim's older than me, but we'll leave that there. At least that makes me a toy boy.
There you go. But you speak to your mother fairly regularly then, which is lovely.
Yeah, we do now. Which we used to speak more to Mum than Dad anyway. But it hasn't, as I say, because I hadn't seen him for so long, it hasn't hit me like I expected it to.
Right.
I mean, we still talk about him. There's a lot of traits that I share with him anyway. So,
what sort of traits, Andrew?
Usually my sense of humour.
Right. Okay.
He was the king of puns and dad jokes.
What was the best pun he used to have?
Oh,
give me a couple of his best puns.
But the thing with Dad is he and I would start firing one-liners back at each other, backwards and forwards. My mother would sit there like the umpire at Wimbledon, just head turning from side to side. And then all of a sudden, she would drop a perler into the conversation. And we both look up and, yeah, all right, you win. It was that, but I mean, he also would have the old dad jokes as well. And it was the real groaners, which were, pre-Flintstone era jokes.
Right.
He would still come out with them, and we'd still laugh, and we'd still groan.
Give us a couple. Give us a couple.
Oh, what would be a typical one of Dad's?
I'll tell you what, we'll bring you back next time, so you can dig out your best ones, and we'll have you back next time. But Andrew, firstly, congratulations on being the winner of the afternoon tease. I'm sure you will celebrate in style, which is really good. And also, it's been fascinating because it's a wonderful segue into the news section that we've got on the show about love on lockdown and how you started that remote love with Kim all those years ago, and actually people struggling now. So what we want to do is to get people to write in about their own experience about love on lockdown, whether you're separated from your loved ones or starting the dating scene now, which has been really difficult for people over the last few weeks. So write into us here at LOL, L-O-L, at octopustv.com, and we'll get you on the show as well. But Andrew, just to finish with, give us your 3 top tips then, your 3 top tips on love on lockdown. How have you survived?
Alcohol, and alcohol. No.
Kim, you can help him out here.
The computer has been Mum has kept us sane. Kim's been working from home, and I've just been looking after her. You know, if she wanted another cup of peppermint tea, I'd go and get it. I mean, we try to keep the house running as normally as possible. That's try to keep things running normally, whatever normal is.
Right.
And it seems to have kept us going, rather than chucking the second best crockery at each other over a little thing. You know, don't argue, keep smiling, keep taking the cooking cherry, and remember, the odd hug or kiss on the top of the head doesn't hurt.
Andrew, wonderful words to finish with. Thank you very much and congratulations again. And thanks so much. Enjoy. Kim, Andrew, all the way from Australia. Thanks for joining us.
Not a problem, Andrew. Great to talk to you, my friend.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Well, there you go. Love on Lockdown. How good was that? There we go. Our first ever winner. If you want to take part in either Love on Lockdown, send me an email at lol@octopustv.com and you could be on the show as well. Also, don't forget, the competition is still open for Andrew Eborn's Afternoon Tease. But for now, be good. I've been Andrew Eborn, and what a show that was. Thank you very much for joining me.